So as someone who started, you said like you were university, and that's when you already started performing. And yes, even though you say you were scattered, but the point is you were finding your way.
Oh yeah.
But always in this
Yeah.
same space, right? Did you at any point see yourself doing something else? Did you ever experience like burnout?
Burning out or?
Yeah, like burning out. Like, did you ever feel at any point like I am burnt out?
Ah.
I can't do this, or I need to take a break, or I need some kind of inspiration from somewhere. How have you kept yourself going? Because this is a long time.
Yeah, the only time as a performer I have ever felt like, okay, this must come to an end is when I was working at UBC.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was not because I felt I was doing it, I've done it for a long time or anything. I just felt like I was giving it a lot and it was not giving back. It got to a point where it was just I making the show and the show was not making me anymore. It got to a point where it's a long story, that one, for another day.
I think a lot of people
Do you have enough
relate.
time? Yeah?
And we're here.
But from a deeper point of view, as an artist, every time I feel like this, I'm getting tired, then for me that is a sign, it is a bell that, okay, this particular thing needs to be reinvented. And as a creative artist, I have never thought, I can't accept that there's a ceiling. There's no ceiling in the creative business. There's no ceiling. So when you feel that, okay, this thing it has been overconsumed, then that is a bell. There's a need to reinvent it.
So it's like an inner voice telling you to change direction.
Yeah,
and maybe
you reinvent it, give it some more oomph from another direction.
Okay.
Yeah, but from an execution point of view and in the space, because you see, you cannot be isolated from the kind of society you are operating in and the systems you're operating in. So that's why I told you, for me, the one that stands out where I felt like, okay, this is the end, I need to quit, was at UBC.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think many people would stay at a job where you're helping the organization make 49 million shillings a month and they're giving you 200,000 shillings. Yeah. I had to make that decision. I had to move. Surprisingly, they thought, because I had informers inside there, and they went like, he needs TV more than TV needs him. He will be back. He's young. He will come back. He needs the space. Yeah. 1 month, they did see me. A month and a half, they were like, okay, actually, I think he's not coming back. Proposed to him 500,000. I told them minimum 3 million shillings. They were like, it has never happened. I asked them, has it ever happened for a person to just come, stand in front of the camera and just jazz and talk to callers while you play music videos that you didn't produce? Artists just come and deliver them to you. You don't invest anything in this. Artists bring the videos. Yeah, I come and talk to the people. I interest them to stay on till 1 a.m. and I was doing a show at that time, in the same time with the most viewed personality on TV, Straka Mwezi. And it surpassed Straka's viewership. And for me, you know, I don't care how people view Straka, but it meant a lot for me because I found the show in limbo, brought it up 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. I did it.
Straka was amazing.
I did it for 3 years. And I was like, well, because when I asked for 3, I went down up to about 1.5 a month, and I told them at 1.5 a month, give me this show, I produce it, in 3 months, it will be bringing 50 million shillings plus in sponsorships. And like, no, that has never happened. We don't even give producers 1 million shillings. Who are you? I said, I am the person.
You're the talent.
Who has brought the talent that brings this much money. I'm not asking for a lot. Decide what fits what I've contributed.
You know, that's a challenge a lot of people go through. Just not being paid your worth. Not being paid your worth.
And
because,
for me,
like you said, you know you're putting in your all. You're thinking, you're using your connections, your people, you're creating, you're trying to lift something with like every fiber of your being. But
Exactly. And you see, sometimes, believe it or not, in the time I've been in the entertainment and creative business, sometimes people do not need that much money. They need to get the sense that they are appreciated. You appreciate my contribution. If we meet at that point, then we can explore other possibilities. At least that is the beginning. But you see, when I left UBC, by the way, this is a story I've never told, by the way. I'm telling it on your show, I hope. When I left UBC, I was angry. Angry at them. Angry at myself, somehow. I felt maybe I should have pushed them harder. But then I felt free. But then, after calming the anger down, I realized the problem is bigger than UBC. It is all over the systems of government. They are failing to retain the best talents. Actually, they are failing to look out for the talents and getting the best talents out there. That is one thing. When they get the talents, they are failing to retain the best talents. That is a problem. Now, the bigger problem, they don't give a damn.
Yeah, because they just think someone's just standing there talking, and someone else can come and also stand and do the same.
And sometimes it hurts you, like, okay, this is the national broadcaster.
With unlimited potential.
You know?
I know. How did you meet your wife?
I met my wife at TLC.
At TLC? Like,
the first time I met my wife, I had gone to watch Manchester City versus Arsenal. It ended in a draw. I think one of the reasons I can't forget that match is it's the first time I also saw her. So 3 young ladies, very interested in football. Like, who are these? And then they had watched our shows. By that time we had moved to the National Theatre, but TLC was my place. So it was a weekend, and they were out too. We had a chat, exchanged, just normal chat, I will love your show, blah, 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 went. Next I saw her was 2 weeks after, because I invited her to the show. And then she came to the show. Now the challenge is, as an awkward moment, because, you meet a lot of people, She came to the show. And you ladies, by the way, you change your hairstyle once, eh? If I meet you today, and we chat for less than 10 minutes, and I see you after 2 weeks, and your hairstyle has changed. I'm like, are you my OG? Which school? She looked at me, like, Richard, my name is Sharon. We met at, you invited us to the show. And like, oh, it is you.
How did you save that situation?
She's a patient woman. Yeah. And I was like, this one's different. These days, you meet a lot of people, you invite people to the show. If you have, by any chance, given them your number, they call you. They're like, hey, you invited us to your show, but we don't have tickets. Those ones invited them, they paid, they watched the show, enjoyed it, stayed around to say hi. Yeah, and I was busy after the show. But she was there to say hi after maybe like 30 minutes. I was like, hey, this one is patient. We watched another Arsenal game versus Man U, where Arsenal was beaten.
And?
Yeah, from then on, we got to, know each other, better. Slowly, by the way. Yeah. After some time, now a real relationship happened. And 2012, we had our first child, and we decided to make it official.
Okay, you said she's patient. I find it interesting that men like to say that a lot.
Not. I'm not speaking for men.
Okay, that's how I'm like.
I'm not speaking.
I'm trying to understand what context you mean.
In the context of Richard is not just a man. I am a complex. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a man who is a performer, who has to be out at night more than 3 nights
Yeah.
a week.
Yeah.
In busy seasons, you might not. You might even think I don't have time for you. Yeah, because I MC, I perform, I do things. My work is very irregular. My kind of work is not 8 to 5. I'm not the kind of man you would figure out a way, yeah, to give time and they give time back. You give time when I am there, because now sometimes I'm there up to all morning. Most mornings I'm home, yeah. Most men are not home in the mornings.
Yes.
So
it's very different.
It's very different than most evenings. I'm away, but I've learned. You see, when you are still figuring it out, you do a lot of things. Now, when you realize, okay, this is where my full strength is, this is where my priorities are, you give your all to the priorities, and you create now time for now your wife and your children. Things had to change a lot after 2012.
Okay.
Yeah.
I read somewhere you said that was like your richest moment, seeing your firstborn. Like at the time you had financial problems, you just had a baby, but seeing your son was like your richest moment.
Yeah. Wow. Where did I write that?
I saw it somewhere.
Because it was a real moment. My wife tells me she's pregnant, and around that time we had it was the worst year for me as a performer. We had turbulent times. We had left Philip Luswata. We had formed Fan Factory. The first 2 years were shaky. Then 2012 was shakier.
Previously on Crystal One-on-One.
So I had done foods and nutrition at HSC. Here I have pineapples. I remember I used to make pineapple jam and my dad liked it, and I used to give it as gifts. So why not make pineapple jam now? I just didn't realize I had 30 acres of pineapple jam.
And you could make a business out of it.
And I could make a business out of it. So I made pineapple jam and started giving my friends, and they said it was nice. Why don't you sell it? And since I had a lot, I decided to start making jam and sell to friends and family. One day someone from Uganda Industrial Research Institute tasted my pineapple jam and said, "This is great."
But you always have, things you fall back to. She was there, and then she got pregnant. And for people, at that point, when you have these influences of, life has to be planned. You plan when to have a child, plan when to marry, blah, 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 blah. I still had those excesses of planning, and so our first child was not really that planned. So it's like, okay, this has happened. Okay, things have to change. So a lot of things had to change at that point. But you see, I welcomed it. I said, let's have the baby. From there on, we see how we move. And I looked at this child and I'm like, Kale, humans, you see, sometimes our logic plays against us. Sometimes you just have to accept that this world we are living is not just the physical things. It is so spiritual, and we are spiritual beings. Accept things and say, okay, ahead, the better times are there. But there's nothing. From that point, a lot of things changed. Then I started to realize that, most of the things that happen to us are caused by like 3 major, the bad things that happen to us are caused by 3 major emotions, fear, doubt, fear, doubt, and the pressure to fit in the limits set by the society. you, before society was formed, there were limitless possibilities. I said, you know what, let's have the baby, let's start a family. The possibilities are there. Let's not, but that is me talking to me. Yeah, yes. So my son was a turnaround. Okay. That's why I called him legend.
Wow. No, that's very true. Huh? Sometimes you just need to embrace your circumstances here and now, and that will unfold everything else. And also with change, like you're saying, you had left, you're starting something new. There's always that rocky ground before things.
Yeah, and some of, and I think one of my greatest weaknesses is also my strength, like giving yourself to your art, giving too much of yourself to your art, that, you know, you give it a lot of thought. But when my son came, I realized, okay, I need to open my mind to, you know, to apply myself. I need to happen to life, not to wait for life to happen to me. You. I must happen to life. It is, there are not two ways about it. We must make a choice to happen to this world. Every time you wait for this world to happen to you, the world will shape your path. When you decide to happen to the world, you shape your path, and the world will come and follow you.
I love that.
It will come and follow. Yes. We just have to happen to this world, man. We just have been so conditioned from many angles, from the academic angle, religious angle, societal angle, acceptance angle, what you need to be by 20, what you need to be by 30, what you need to be by 40. You know, there's just too much pressure on people. Sometimes I wish people also realize that life is for living. Live life. So basically, from then on, my view of life and how to live it changed.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Unfortunately, we're out of time. But yeah, I mean, I'll just ask you for, you know, you said a lot in terms of, like, I like that whole, you have to happen to life. I mean, we talk about being intentional, but that's part of it. But also, you're talking about all this pressure, and a lot of people either are not aware of it or maybe underestimate it, and it really can curb your possibilities, can be limitations. What's your advice to happen to life?
Unfortunately, you cannot tell someone how to happen to life. They have to discover themselves, because we are all different. This is my philosophy. All of us are like smart gadgets. Every one of us, we are like smart gadgets with numerous apps, unique apps, yeah? But we are not using our apps. We are not using our unique operating system. So this smart gadget and this smart gadget has another operating system that corrupted it. But it corrupted this gadget in a way that while it came, it can also operate the smart gadget, but not at its maximum operating potential, until this smart gadget discovers its unique operating apps and starts tapping them. And some of the things, the apps that corrupt our thinking are the education system that you went through, the religion that you have practiced since childhood, what the media is bombarding you with, yeah. So in many ways, people are not living their life. They are living life as it has been sold to them.
So people need to find their path.
But I'm speaking from my standpoint as a creative artist, because I might sound ridiculous to people who are not creative artists. Yeah. So that is it for me.
Okay.
And many times, that is why I told you sometimes when you discover that some people might see you as the crazy one. Yeah. When you try, like for example, when I decided to homeschool my children, after I had seen them, but if I had not studied myself that well, maybe I wouldn't have even studied my children.
How did your family see that, when you made the decision? Did they understand it?
My mother, being a teacher, when I explained to her what I saw in my children and why it drove me to do homeschooling, because she ran a kindergarten for years. Then I told her about what I think about children's minds and how imaginative they are and how the system now shrinks their imagination, yeah, to a particular line. She was in unison with me. She said, "Richard, I think you're very right." And I paid for my wife to train for 2 months. So she's their teacher. I'm glad she accepted to,
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
It's always nice to know that there are possibilities.
Limitless.